there's a person in the comment section who is not being very respectful.
The fook motherfucker.
Well, I'll make some moderators. I'll get a moderators. Forky.
Hey, fook.
Shitty, fucky, makey, Dewey, whatever. Well, he left anyway. He knew I was kicking him. Chicken, pussy. I hate you, lefty. I really do. I'm gonna kill. Yeah. Democratic Party's got to go down. If you're a representative of what the Democratic Party has turned into, this fucking goddamn. Let's make all these fucking excuses for all this bullshit they've created. I mean, these goddamn arrogant motherfucking politicians. I mean, fuck. I want them all fucking strapped to a polygraph test 24 hours a day. Polygraph.
I would argue I am not indicative. I'm actually more to the left of the standard party person.
Yeah, whatever. You're doing a great job defending their tyranny.
So, are you like one of those liberals who, around election time, always takes all of the energy from every social movement that's built up and then kind of channels it into the Democratic Party, even though you're critical of them for the rest of the time?
I think she's talking to you, Gary.
More up their ass than that.
She's talking to you, Gary.
Yeah, no, I'm
No,
a Democrat just to keep to keep the monsters, the Satans from taking office. Yeah, I'll vote for the lesser of the evil, but I know the Democratic Party's evil as hell.
To answer what you said, Nuclear, just looking at history, for example, FDR, the socialist movement was growing and FDR embodied a lot of the socialist programs as a strategy to maintain what was going on. So if you look at history, that happens a lot. So there are certain practicalities I take into mind.
Yeah, I think it's a real problem, though, because, I mean, there was a big socialist movement, and, you know, it all got railroaded into the Democrats because they give us these concessions, but now we have the same problems again. We have an even bigger economic crisis because they're a party of capitalism, and it's disgusting.
Well, it's not.
Well, I mean that works both ways. I mean, the part of what destroyed the Communist Party in the United States was the fact that they couldn't negotiate. You know, I mean, they were just too communist. You know, they get real. I mean, it wasn't a fucking philosophy you could sell to the majority.
No, I don't necessarily agree. I think the Communist Party fell apart because they were so willing to work with the people in power here in the U.S., and it was run by Stalin and the rulers in Russia who basically decided how things were going to go here in the U.S., and they weren't interested in 15 revolutions outside of the USSR because they were afraid of it becoming, you know, that they would become a way of them getting in trouble with their allies in these other countries that weren't socialist or whatever.
I burn whatever.
Are you paralyzed, Mr. Mouse? Are you paralyzed, Mr.
Oh, whatever. Thank you.
Sorry.
No one's paralyzed. Thank you very much. Everybody's doing just fine. But yeah, we'll see you later. Thank you very much.
I think if you're concerned about some of these social movements, probably the best thing to do is to shift American culture. American culture is heavily imbued with capitalistic values, and so that's the key to change the culture, and everything else flows from there.
I don't agree that our culture is,
Look at Ralph Nader. Look at Ralph Nader. He didn't negotiate for anything, okay? So it was a waste, a lost cause. So he got less votes this time than the last time because, yeah, he was feudal. He was a feudal vote. And that's what the Communist Party became because it was too fucking hard line. And instead of just let's take whatever progressive steps we can take. You know, I mean, they wanted the whole ball game, and Ralph Nader wants, you know, I got a list of 15 things. Give me 7 of them. Well, fuck you, Ralph. You know, you got to do better than that bargain.
Well, I don't really think that the Communist Party has been too hardline. They've supported the Democrats for decades now. So they haven't been too hardline, and they've really done everything they could to break up other parties here in the U.S. So, I mean, a classic example of this is them giving out information about the Socialist Workers' Party to the government. Sorry. And, you know, just to kind of break up other parties. So it's more like they were not really working with anybody else. So, yeah, they were hardline in that sense, but not in the sense of their demands. They've always been pretty to the right of all other leftist groups.
Where, right of what leftist group?
There's plenty of leftist groups that they're to the right of. I mean,
well, what?
I could name off parties.
Go ahead.
What? The Social Workers' Party, the Freedom Socialist Party, let's me think, the ISO, the Solidarity, the Spartacist League.
Yeah, and what are you talking about? 0.0001% of population?
Actually, I think this, last cycle, it was, it was more than that, of the population who vote for, socialist candidates. It was 15,000 people. Not very many, but, you know, enough people who wanted to vote for something else.
Yeah, well, it's not even going to scare the party. The point is when a party gets enough interest in it, okay, like the Socialists had in the 70s and the 60s, then it's a threat to the Democrats because they're siphoning votes off, okay? So they got to make a deal, and that's when you bargain for something, all right? But when you're irrelevant, yeah, you can't bargain for anything when you're 15,000 people, okay? But the only point in having a third party now is to get instant runoff voting. Because without that, you're never going to. Third parties are always going to be dead. They're always going to be a non-issue.
Well, I don't disagree with you there. I mean, our total voting system is completely undemocratic, and it's totally set up that way so third parties can't get in. And I think they're more afraid of third parties from the left coming in than from the right.
Yeah, but the Democratic Party has a principled attachment to the idea of minority representation. So we got a chance with the Democrats. We can bargain with them. We can't bargain with the Republicans. Republicans aren't going to ever want instant runoff voting because that's a party that lives for the special interest of the rich, and they know that interest is dead if there's instant runoff voting.
Well, I mean, do you not think that the Democrats are the party of the rich? I mean, who dismantled welfare in the 90s?
Well, it's all relative. It's all relative, okay? I mean, if the Democrats had their will, there'd still be a 40% tax rate bracket, okay? I mean, income taxpayers would still be paying their freight. They wouldn't be borrowing money from Social Security. So it's not a matter of the will of the party versus what the pragmatic fucking result is going to be different. I mean, yes, the Democrats compromise too much. I'll agree with you. But their principles are better. I'm just saying. The underlying principles, you get to a Democrat. You're not going to get to a Republican. Go ahead, Lefty.
Just a couple of things. In terms of the classic socialist movements in the 20th century, in terms of co-option, you're talking about sharing information with the government. In red-wing states, the Wobblies were killed by the National and State Guards. I mean, in Utah, there's a memorial because they were shot to death in their tents. In Arizona, New Mexico, they were shot. So what's the difference? One's co-opting, maybe sharing information, and there's corroboration. But in red states, they were getting fucking blown away. And even some trade unionists were conspiratory, who were not mainstream. So you have to think about that. I think ultimately, going back to all these things, the bigger cause here is the capitalist values and underlying the culture. If the culture shifts, the politicians and whoever where you do are going to give you what you want, but you have to have the culture be really strong in a certain direction.